of the road to Red Bull Wololo legacy, and already the finals has switched up from who we had sitting here last week. Of course, it was the Muslim Beastie, two players that weren't able to make it anywhere near as deep they were the first time around. And this is what I'm loving, Lidakor, how this format is already just inviting giant changes. We've already seen phenomenal changes this week with the additional appearances of people like Kazva and Nushelbear, as well as Zertin, and of course the return of Mister in the top 8. And I look forward to seeing how these weeks continue. I look forward to seeing if PuppyPaw can keep a clean sheet, because as we highlight, as we beautifully highlight, thank you to the staff behind the scenes that noticed this. And you said PuppyPaw has yet to lose a game in the road to Red Bull Wololo at all.
Yeah, that's 20 straight from him. That is unbelievable. Now, obviously, MarineLorD is no pushover, but if PuppyPaw can make it a 3-0 here, which, well, right now seems somewhat unlikely simply because he's up against MarineLorD, and that's gonna be a tough nut to crack. But if PuppyPaw can make it a 3-0, I mean, people will look at him and say, dude, this guy is very dangerous now, and so is the amount of wolves triggered out here. If I'm correct, that's going to be a total of 8. Do the quick math on this, KP. How much gold is that for PuppyPaw if he kills all of them?
He's got 6 full on him, right? So 6 full on him, that'll be 150 gold. I think what PuppyPaw done, he ran in the middle of the map and went, "Ow!" It's like, as he would, and all of a sudden it seems that his name is fitting, because he's going to have plenty of PuppyPaws hanging around his neck after this. And MarineLorD can't stop him. He's just feeding the gold to him.
Oh man, that is just going to be a tremendous amount of gold, and you see why you're picking the Rus over here. Looks like MarineLorD might be able to yoink one out there unless PuppyPaw pays attention. And you see MarineLorD is waiting for the double scout.
Oh, they're both waiting for
he gets it!
Oh my god, PuppyPaw is just handling him right now. Folks, like, if it seems like we're overhyping it, it's because MarineLorD, what is it we usually say about MarineLorD, Lidakor? What is the #1 thing that comes to mind for people? I believe it begins with an M. It's Micro God, right? Yeah. Everyone thinks of him as a Micro God. And yet, PuppyPaw is just playing him like a fiddle right now.
And honestly, like, this is one of the most heartwarming things here. We don't want to, like, you know, we don't want to make the impression that we're against MarineLorD by any means, but this is one of the nicest things to look at with Age of Empires 4 right now. This game developing its own pro scene. A guy that never had any competitive success in any other game before, becoming so good to a point where he's able to out-micro an RTS legend like MarineLorD, someone that has been so dominant in the recent months of Age of Empires 4 as well. Oh man, this is gonna be a banger of a set, and I'm super happy to be here watching this, especially because this is also on a custom map, Frisian Marshes. Once again, big shout out to Adney, the creator and the author of this map, because we have seen some spectacular games on this map in this weekend, and I'm sure that this is gonna be a spectacular one as well.
And I'm looking forward to the future, looking to see if we can add more custom maps in the future. And you know what, folks, if you get creating, maybe your map will be featured here. Maybe your map will be featured in different places. Like, we don't have confirmation. We don't know if it's going to be guaranteed, but I'm sure even Red Bull themselves are going to be looking at these type of situations, these custom maps, to say, you know, is this better than your Danube River or your Mongolian Heights? And I got to say, those type of maps, they're not perfect, so there is a way to improve upon them. And I definitely think Frisian has improved upon some of the default maps that we've been seeing recently.
And indeed, the thing is that the most important thing is to keep creating, because the creativity of the community exceeds even the creativity of a dev team with 200 people. No one is perfect, the devs are not perfect, they have some ideas about maps, but you might have an idea for an absolutely insane map, and even if you're not a pro map creator, just make sure you reach out to people, reach out to me, reach out to the other map makers, because you might have a great idea that someone can turn into a perfect competitive map, and we could see your idea, your creation here in the coming weeks of Road to Wololo.
Absolutely, I'm hyped for that. I love the idea of, like, the creativity coming through the community. It's a wonderful way that you can get involved. And I'm always a fan of more custom content. Like, I think we've learned very quickly with Frisian Marshes that it's not necessarily that difficult. Well, I'm not going to say that's not that difficult, because Adney worked his ass off this map, but it's not impossible to best Relic at developing maps, because Frisian Marshes, to me, although it's maybe going to need a few fixes, a few tweaks for it to be perfect, it's off to a damn good start.
Yeah, and it's the legacy of the game, right? By the way, as Core is showing us, Puppy is at 355 bounty, but he's yet to scout that patch of deer on the right side. What? Don't tell me it's a Kremlin drone.
Wait. What?
No, he's feudal.
Oh my god.
It's just a super hardcore tower rush
right now. It's a family feud. PuppyPaw is trying to block out the gold. He wants the Wooden Fortress. He's trying to do the same thing here that he done to Kazva.
Oh man, but I mean, MarineLorD is ready for this one, and he's got the villagers out there.
Yeah, but this is bad though, because MarineLorD is investing 8 villages. Is that 9 villages actually even? To defend this against 5. So it's a better trade for PuppyPaw.
Especially if you consider the context that PuppyPaw is investing villagers that are not boosted by a prelate, whereas for MarineLorD, he's not only just losing out on 9 villagers worth of production or resource gathering, he's also missing out on the boost that the prelates would give them while doing so. It looks like he's actually going for an initial tower on the hunt. Somewhat surprising, his stable is just now coming in, he needs a response to those horsemen that are coming out, but this tower should go up, I think. I think 1 horseman is not enough, maybe 2 will.
He's going to lose 1 or 2 villages for this, but like if he gets up, it's actually a good idea what he's trying to do, because if you look at the layout of the food for MarineLorD, he hasn't got much safe food. His berry is off to the left side of this, so you can start to crawl in. PuppyPaw's going all in with this type of outpost rush. Like when you commit one like this, you don't stop there. Otherwise, you've just kind of thrown the game because they'll have idle eco. So he'll look to crawl on the left side where the berry's located, and we need to check how many sheep MarineLorD has, because
not much.
It might be all he has.
I think this is the game plan over here for PuppyPaw, because
oh my god.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead. It's just the proxy base on top of this is the impressive part.
No. What I was thinking about is, as you see, he's got 8 sheep to work with, and I think PuppyPaw knows that. And the thing is that, we talked about this one, that the HRE, they want to have a very small and tight base because of the Aachen Chapel, because they don't want to make a lot of army in feudal age. So you would expect MarineLorD not to be on fish, which for PuppyPaw is telling him, hey, wait a minute, he doesn't have a lot of sheep under the town center, he doesn't have fish, so I can easily starve him out over here if I take away the berries and the hunt, and that's what he's doing right now.
And this outpost is not working out for MarineLorD. It's taking heavy damage right now. The villages are being pulled away, which means it takes longer to construct. And when you're still in foundation mode, you take 50% increased damage. Look at the torch damage already. He constructs it, but it's barely worth it. The knight is just going to target down the villages, and it's going to be a good trade for PuppyPaw. And off the back of this, he can keep up the aggression via his proxy base that is now getting the first line of archers out.
Oh, look at that. He's dropping the house.
The blueprint play. MarineLorD can cancel that as well. He doesn't need to keep it there. That's really big.
Ooh, that's really big. If you're PuppyPaw, you actually throw a torch at it because you don't want MarineLorD to cancel it. But that tower stays alive for MarineLorD. The problem for MarineLorD, though, is that he's not progressing towards Castle Age. And when you're playing the HRE, you want to get to Castle Age as soon as possible because you're focusing all your eco on the food underneath your town center. And it's running dry really fast, you see. MarineLorD is caught in between 2 places here. He is not fielding an army with the resources he's gathering in Feudal Age, but he's also not going into Castle Age yet. Whereas for PuppyPaw, he's all in on his Feudal.
Oh my god, and it's working out. Like, the issue that you have for your MarineLorD is you don't have the counter to the Knights. You're not building enough horsemen quick enough. You can't actually afford them because of the food issue that is quickly drying up fast here. And by the way, we should probably just reiterate what's happening there with the emergency repairs, because I don't know if they're ever going to remove this. Admittedly, they probably feel bad for the HRE right now because, you know, in the past they haven't been looking good. But the way that that works is, like, usually you need to daisy chain in your buildings to get your emergency repairs. But an interesting trick you can do with the HRE is if you plop down blueprints, they function as that daisy chain as well. So let's say you have, I don't know, a keep out in the middle of nowhere that's about to go down. If you plop down a crap ton of house blueprints, it will link in towards your TC and you can hit the emergency repair button. It is a bit scummy. Well, I'm not going to say scummy because that's shame on MarineLorD. It is a bit crappy that that's a thing, but MarineLorD's entirely within his rights to use it.
You know, it's a bug or a feature, right? I'm just sad that you called it emergency repairs and not Notfall Reparatur. And after, once again, having HRE out here, Core is back to the English version of the game, so we're back to emergency repairs. But for the sake of immersion, you could have called it Notfall Reparatur.
No. So we're in the competitive scene now, Lidakor, so I call it E-repairs, because E-repairs sounds really e-sportsy.
Or
really
E-rap.
edgy, right?
How about that E-rap?
E-rep sounds like something that you build up in a free-to-play game on your mobile device. I don't know about that one, buddy.
Or like a fancy position in a company, you know. I'm the manager. I'm the E-rap of the company.
What does that even mean? I don't know.
It doesn't matter, but it sounds cool.
Oh, God. All right, tech up coming out from MarineLorD. He did get on the berries in the end, so this was maybe a mistake out of PuppyPaw that he got directed towards the gold. He needed to block out the sheep, and yeah, siege engineering was very delayed. I wonder if it would have been better to have gotten another wooden fortress deeper onto that berry line, because that would have screwed MarineLorD over. He still can't access fish, and the only thing keeping him alive right now are those berries.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be strained on food. He's going up to Castle Age though, but as you pointed out, it is the Ragnis Cathedral he's using, so it's not like he's just gonna have the Burgrave Palace to magically make 20 units out there and then just clean this up. He does have a stable, so he's gonna have access to the Knights out here, PuppyPaw, yet to add a single Spearman, but if PuppyPaw proactively adds Spearman over here as a response to the Knights, it's gonna be troublesome because MarineLorD doesn't have a lot of food to burn here. If he loses the first couple of Knights or he doesn't get good value out of them, he's gonna be completely out of food. But PuppyPaw needs some Spearmen out here, and I think he's yet to scout those stables.
Yeah, and the tough part is MarineLorD doesn't have a relic nearby to pick up. Not that he'd easily be able to move out anyway, because the patrol is going to come out from PuppyPaw still. Like, this is a tough one right now. This is an issue we're aware of, folks. Like, it's an issue with custom maps. It's one of the downsides. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. If you look at the map, you're very good at counting, and you can go up to 5 with your fingers because you weren't in a weird bandsaw accident. You might notice that there is a relic missing from the map, and unfortunately, in this specific spawn, it is the one that should be right next to MarineLorD's base.
Yeah, that definitely hurts out here, but well, hopefully it's gonna get fixed by Microsoft very soon, as MarineLorD is moving out for that pond. He actually has to be happy with the fact that that pond is actually pretty close to his base, because that's going to make life a little easier. This being said, that Prelate is gonna get intercepted by the Knight out there, and even a Wololo wouldn't save him. That's a Prelate down, and with that, MarineLorD is gonna be stuck on 0 relics, whereas for PuppyPaw, looks like he's just still going for full archer play here. Not a remarkable amount of archers though, like compared to the previous game where he fielded 90 archers, it's a completely different story right now.
Yeah, because he has to kind of temper the build-up. Like, but he'll still reach there. I think we were a lot deeper in that game when we saw that many archers. And also keep in mind, I'd say he pushed less knights. Like, you're being actively contested. If you go all archers, like, it's good once you're up at 80, even against Castle Age knights, but the gap getting up to that number is going to sacrifice a lot. It's why he goes to the racks instead. A few spears can do a lot of work in. I think that was maybe a little bit of a misplay by PuppyPaw going in that early. You need the spears first. You need to respect the fact that MarineLorD, the most likely unit is going to build here once he reaches Castle Age against what you're fielding is knights.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, if you think about that, even if MarineLorD went for men-at-arms, your archers wouldn't be able to do much over here. So indeed, this is a bit of a late addition of the spearmen over here. And you see MarineLorD is getting a great value out of those first couple of knights. Cleaning up those feudal age knights, also cleaning up quite a lot of archers. And the difference between this game and the one that Kaswa played against PuppyPaw on this map is that this time around PuppyPaw is playing one town center and he's not on Shorefish. So his military buildup is much slower because he's not on Shorefish, and as such he doesn't have a great food eco to just spam out those feudal food costing units.
Yeah, that's a troublesome detail to me because PuppyPaw doesn't really have any good reason to not be on fishing. The hunting cabin is like the one small thing goes, like, okay, it costs 100 wood. Yes, I mean, I see we come from that. But the upside is way too valuable to overlook here, especially considering you're up against HRE in a situation where you've pinned them in. Like, they're not coming out, they're not controlling midfield, which means you don't even have to tower and protect all these fishing lines for probably the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, we are just now reaching the moment where MarineLorD is going to have an army that's capable of raiding you. So up until this 10 to 15 minute mark, you could have been easily fishing because the HRE simply don't have a chance or they don't have a desire to raid you on those locations. Now it's going to get too late though, because suddenly those knights, they will have the mobility advantage over the army of PuppyPaw, and MarineLorD is going to have that raiding potential on the Shorefish. So PuppyPaw, he's in a tough spot right now, and we could see him lose his first game in the 2 weekends of Road to Wololo.
And you gotta feel like some of it is of his own design. I think he really got tripped up by that blueprint play by MarineLorD. And once again, like, there's no issue with it. Like, it's exploitive type play, but not in a breaking the rules way. It's just very smart play by MarineLorD. That one detail, that actually set back PuppyPaw's rush by a minute and a half, I think. And I think that's actually a big deal there. Especially considering that MarineLorD shifted from investing like 8 villagers to keep your rush away to investing 2 or 3. And that's why now in this awkward situation, and the remarkable part is like MarineLorD is gathering up those relics now. I will give credit where credit is due to PuppyPaw. He did once again intercept the Prelate and delay this further. But it does feel inevitable that this time MarineLorD is going to bank that relic, and when he does, that's going to be an extra 300 gold per minute into his eco.
Yeah, like, the thing is that, as you pointed out, it was a delayed Castle Age for MarineLorD, but having that emergency repairs kick in there, preemptive Wololo, that's not gonna come through though. Having that delay out there, when it comes to that push from PuppyPaw, is what bought the time for MarineLorD for Castle.
Yeah, nice back off by MarineLorD there. The spears were starting to envelop him a little bit. This is where it gets a little bit scary for MarineLorD because the amount of spears in the field is building up fast. PuppyPaw did go for the double rack to the proxy base, so MarineLorD doesn't actually have an answer right now. He needs to make a transition happen, and it is going to be the man-at-arms coming out. Man-at-arms that should fare pretty damn well, especially if he gets the initial time required to get into the maces. But right now, this is bad. One knight is going to chase that down, even with the villager force rushing up an outpost. 3 of them should be dying to that one knight.
And that's a big thing, because sure thing, the MarineLorD is picking up relics, or is he? He's still at 0 relics, and this is actually looking way better for PuppyPaw than it looked like. Yeah. We talked about this one, that MarineLorD can't afford a lot of knights right now. And if he loses access to the fish, which just happened, he won't be able to field more knights. He's got 200 food per minute and dropping. MarineLorD doesn't have a food eco to make more knights with. He's running out of gold. He's losing villagers. He lost everything.
They all died. He got all of them in the end.
No
that is a problem now. MarineLorD in a little bit of a pickle. He trades over for the food to try and stay alive. But folks, he's in trouble. The only upside for MarineLorD is at least his starting relic is where it should be now. The problem is he's never getting it. The amount of knights in the field, 6, up to 15 spim as well. A ram once again. PuppyPaw is ready to play. And MarineLorD, that man-at-arms count, like, it's a good idea. But there are 100 food each. And you have no food income at all.
And now no gold income because it starts to snowball. PuppyPaw never invested the resources into going into Castle Age. He's going full feudal, and sure thing, you have emergency repairs in there. You're trying to get some men-at-arms out, but men-at-arms without maces, they won't be good against the knights, and you don't have enough of them to compensate for this.
He hasn't got marching drills either. He's barely getting any gold anymore because of where this raid is. It's blocked everything. Everything possible is just gone. He can't get tech ups to make them more efficient. He can't build new units because he doesn't have the food. And if you've got gold and food as an issue in your eco, wood can only do so much for you, even with the increased 40% gathering rate that the HRE has.
And you see, MarineLorD is losing his army over here. He is down to 0 food per minute. No more chances for him to get knights out on the battlefield. Whatever he has in the queue, that is 2 men-at-arms, 3 men-at-arms, is what he's gonna have. He doesn't have access to that gold anymore. And the Aachen Chapel, it's exposed.
Yep. But he done it. He finally got a relic back, so at least the gold isn't a problem. The food still is, but it funnels the issue to one resource to fix now. If you think about where he was just a minute ago, wood was meant to sustain gold and food. That is a terrible situation to find yourself in. Now, it's still a really, really tough situation for MarineLorD, but at least he has something going his way. Because for the last few minutes, things have been getting worse and worse progressively with no signs of hope for MLorD fans.
He's going for 200 weapons over here for the men-at-arms, which is a nice upgrade. However, it actually makes them better against lightly armored units primarily. When you're up against knights, you want to have the maces in, so he thinks he's not going to encounter a ton of knights, but I think he's gonna be wrong on that. I think PuppyPaw is going to start ramping up the knight numbers out there, and with the Aachen Chapel being so exposed, you can deny the key economical benefit of the HRE. You can just camp under it, and no villager should be able to get the resources.
Hi-ho, hi-ho. It's off the fish we go. The best part is he's doing this intentionally. He just shifted to a new fishing area.
At least he has wheelbarrow. Oh man, that must be painful. Because keep in mind that for the hunt, it's alright to walk long distances because you carry 30 food. Those bad boys are carrying like 10 food apiece. What? Okay, that's a hunting cabin in a very awkward looking spot.
I mean, it's got some subsidence. I think you might get wet toes if you live in that cabin. But at least he fixes it now. He's waiting in the wood. He'll get into it now, and that is just going to inflate him. Like, I love that PuppyPaw finally done this. I think this is the big difference maker. Remember what we were highlighting earlier, that he wasn't doing at the beginning, and that's why his rates were slowing down? Now look at him. The beast is unleashed. He's over 1,000 food per minute. And that is enough to fuel this war economy. MarineLorD, by comparison, the knight count has shrunk. The man-at-arms not really looking that threatening at 11 when you consider the amount of cannon fodder that PuppyPaw has to hold you back and the amount of damage that you can follow through with as well.
And you don't need to kill MarineLorD here, you just need to keep him inside his base, because remember, the tower is up on the front line, so MarineLorD can't expand in that direction. No emergency repairs on this tower out here, so it's gonna be burned down, and MarineLorD's access to food will be cut off.
And that's 5 more villages gone as well, Lidakor. Like, look at the eco difference right now. This is getting ridiculous. MarineLorD, even as the HRE, you can play a little bit from behind, but this is getting out of control.
And you just can't get yourself food. And PuppyPoe is playing this one so well. He's conscious about the fact that the HRE, they love to play inside their base, but when you do have all that shortfish out there, you need to expand with the HRE even, and that is something that PuppyPoe is denying so well. Even with that knight killing a couple of villagers from him, the losses on MarineLord's sides are just much worse, and it's double the population for PuppyPaw, and with the army he has right now, 44 to 8, he could jump on those lumberjacks and we could see MarineLord losing all his eco.
Bloody hell, I wish we were watching that prelate the whole time. That'd be like watching the Lord of the Rings. Smeagol on his way with the one chosen ring like that right there. That's going to be big. A lot of gold coming in, but we have to be mindful of how bad the trade is now getting for MarineLord. Like, if you look at the marketplace, the prices are less desirable the more you keep trading into food and trading into wood. And I like that he's at least got the farms online, but my issue is these archers. These archers are going to reach out because the areas you have to place farms in are going to be ahead of the safety of the TC. And now the dive in under the wood line, that's exposed. That's the problem now. He's chipped away at too much wood here. Needs to go back to his corner.
Yeah, and from this point on, he's going to be just strained on resources. And on this map, seeing farms is a very bad thing to see from a caster's perspective or from the player's perspective who's building those set farms, because the opponent will never be building farms over here. PuppyPaw is going to be on shorefish forever. And you are just not building up farms, no access to gold here from MarineLord, excluding the relics garrisoned inside the Ragnitz Cathedral, which is quite a lot. It's, well, it's still a respectable amount of gold income on the Ragnitz, right? 600 per minute. But it's not going to be able to compensate for you having substantially less villagers with considerably less gathering rates as well, if you look at the big picture. Sure thing, some of them are buffed by the Aachen Chapel, but not all of them.
No, and you can just see this army isn't really stopping too
Oh,
much.
down
The
south.
only reason
Core, shorefish on the south. That is probably dead villagers that I'm seeing. That has to be a ping of dead villagers on the south.
He's chasing through as well. He's going to find more running out. Oh, no! PuppyPaw. He doesn't realize. He doesn't realize.
He's looking at the fight.
Away. Yeah, he's heading for the base. That is a saving grace. That's probably going to be the one reason MarineLord could sustain in this game a little bit longer. But he is far from out of the woods just yet.
But, like, PuppyPaw knows exactly what he needs to do. He needs to probe those resources, and now you see a Siege Workshop coming in here for MarineLord as he's trying to build up his Man-at-Arms numbers. Now, truth be told, Man-at-Arms numbers are increasing, and those archers will become more and more obsolete, but the Knight numbers are also increasing for PuppyPaw, and without maces, those Men-at-Arms will struggle against those Knights. You want to wait until maces come in with this fight here for MarineLord, but if he gets that, there might be a glimpse of hope for him to take a good fight. Still,
now,
45 seconds away.
His logic is pretty smart here. He's seeing a lot of archers, and you see that death ball use. Oh,
MarineLord.
Oh, you need to pray to Jesus right now, right? You're standing outside a temple, and you ain't even putting that inside. We got problems, MarineLord. You need to find God. God needs to just click down on your keyboard right now and bank that, because that is 300 gold being missed out on for no reason. He worked so hard, sweating till, but finally he'll bank it. I don't even want to think about how long he was standing there. I really don't.
At least as a compensation, he's going to heal up those damaged Men-at-Arms out there. All that PuppyPaw needs to win this game is Castle Age and some crossbows, but that's very far away. He's still putting up the Feudal Age pressure, and as you said, the only thing that is keeping MarineLord afloat is those villagers in that pocket eco to the south, which never got intercepted by Puppy. Puppy needs to probe those shorefish deposits. As much as you do that against the Delhi and the Abbasids on other maps like Arabia, let's say, you probe the berries, you have to probe the shorefish over here, but you gotta be careful with your archers, because the Mangonel is now making a debut.
That was so unlike PuppyPaw as well. I usually credit this guy as the best Mangonel dodger in the game, without a doubt. Like, we've seen him do some remarkable dodges against multiple Mangonel.
He found the villagers. He found the villagers on the south. You can see it on the minimap.
God, he's back out there. And I think MarineLord's distracted. Has he even garrisoned inside? Is it maybe too late? It doesn't even matter. Villagers just trying to keep it alive, but he's like, no, this goes down, and after it, you go down with it. And it's only the spearman here. He realized he didn't need him in bait.
Actually...
Okay, PuppyPaw, kill the villagers for the love of God. Okay, kill the Mangonel, that's more acceptable. And that was my concern here, Lidakor, because there's no spearman defending. You can't stop the knights from just running around you.
Yeah, MarineLord needs spearmen, but even if he adds spearmen, that's going to be insufficient. The archers will pick them off. This is why PuppyPaw keeps adding archers over here. It's not against the Men-at-Arms. It's against to prevent a potential spearman switch here from MarineLord. MarineLord is down to 10 armies, 36 from PuppyPaw, who now has a large enough force to dive under the town center, and he just doesn't care about the 6 villagers garrisoned inside. MarineLord is gonna tap out, and PuppyPaw remains undefeated in the first 2 weekends of Road to Wololo. Takes down MarineLord on Frisian Marshes.
and puts a small dent in that substantial lead for the HRE in the win percentage here on Frisian. Giving our win over to the Roosts that are the most popular Civ, but not most popular the way that PuppyPaw plays it. A very aggressive player, a very aggressive strategy here. Very risky as well, but had MarineLorD's number. Understood where he needed to block him off, does so phenomenally, and now finds himself 1 point up over the player that is ranked #1 in the game right now in this best of 5.
What a wonderful performance here by PoppyPaw, and the relentlessness was a key factor to look at over here. You said this before, that when PoppyPaw arrived to the scene, he was a very relentless feudal age pressurer. He was the type of guy that wanted to finish the game in 20 minutes, and we have seen a glimpse of that. Now, obviously, as you said, over the course of the last couple of months, he sort of trained himself up to be a good late game player as well, but this is that classic PoppyPaw style, that full aggression, never even considering Castle Age, just trusting his ability to cut MarineLorD off from resources with the feudal age army.